the 1st of July, 2022. Thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. Make sure to like my official YouTube videos, share my official YouTube video links, and go to my website, www.susanmeling.com, which is the same as www.ladydorybell.com. So, I had a few situations that I've updated my journal blog, The Ornery PSA, since 2019 into 2020 and 2021 into this year, 2022. And I began my official YouTube channel, and those particular factors. And so I decided after the prior official YouTube video of mine, a few of them, that whole, if you want a reason to cry, well, let me make sure I give you a reason to cry, because anybody who's had that particular situation. So back in, I think it was 2012, I had authored this FetLife post about the drama llama situation. And it was about a zoo situation where a llama went from one location to another location to another location because they were all sorts of different zoos. Because, I was born and raised in New Jersey. And so unlike people in the state of Texas, there's this thing called the Z Morning Zoo. And so there's also in other areas, different things called zoos and aquariums. So, I don't know how ignorant some people might have had to be. However, surprise, it wasn't about you. So there's my journal blog, The Ornery PSA, and if I'm going to call somebody out, I'm going to actually call somebody out and be like, okay, so this is this, is this, is this. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. Yeah, so if there were some people that were all teeny baby little bitch temper tantrums and she's totally raving about us and she's guilty conscience much? Guilty conscience much? So, in the DFW area, in Dallas, there's a zoo, and in Fort Worth, there's a zoo, and unlike in some locations, there are only a handful in the years of 2009 through 2012 of different types of locations to go to for what's supposed to be considered the adult consenting lifestyle. And a bunch of these people didn't really think much of me because of their opinions, hypothetically. And so, those types of individuals who had seemed to fail to pay attention to anything outside of their small, little baby world. They just see outside of their little itty bitty areas. No, they didn't. No. They thought whatever they thought of themselves. Yes, they did. They thought that they were so big and so whatever in comparison to, I was born and raised in New Jersey. I grew up going to the 5 boroughs of New York City. Anybody in New York City would probably be like, hey, there's a Z Morning Zoo. And there's certain radio aspects of, the 1980s, 1990s, and then it's not just Z Morning Zoo. There were, in the 1990s, I mean, if you listened to the radio, as I had, there was a Z Morning Zoo in the morning. That's why it's called the Z Morning Zoo. And so then, what was it? So there was Howard Stern at 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. There was the pre-Z Morning Zoo show. I mean, there were a few, you know, I had this thing called a Walkman. I did. In the 1994, I got a Walkman. Had a AM FM radio station. I don't know if people have heard this thing called headphones. Yeah, there was this invention that happened a while back, but over time, so like way back when, there was this thing called a Walkman. And you could listen to this thing called the radio as well. Now I'm gonna date this, but it had a cassette player. Okay. Yes, it did. It had a cassette, so you could listen to a cassette player. I listened to music. Or you could also listen to the radio. Yeah. And so, because I didn't want to, I don't know, I mean, maybe there's somebody who's had a sibling before that they didn't want to deal with. And so they put this thing on, it was magic, but not. And so they put this thing called headphones on their ears. And it was called a headphone because there was this band that went over your head. And they looked like earmuffs. They were all poofy on the sides. And then you'd press play to listen to this cassette tape. Woo! Surprise! And if you didn't want to listen to the cassette tape, you could click a button and you could listen to the radio. And then this thing called a tuning dial. Oh yeah, and volume control. Woo! Surprise! And there was the AM stations as well as the FM stations, and you could hear all sorts of stuff. Magic, but not. And so for those who know about Wi-Fi, it was like so way back when type of Wi-Fi. So in comparison, so you know with Wi-Fi now you can see things on a computer or a tablet or a phone or whatever. You could just listen. So it was like the old version of Wi-Fi before the pictures and the videos. Surprise! So if there were some people who were like, I'm going to pretend I'm in the DFW area. How dare she? Who does Lady Dory Bell think she be? Who does she think she is? Going and writing a creative story and giving a pretense. To the different books in my book section on my website, www.susanmealing.com, which is the same as www.ladydorybell.com. And in the book section, you can click the links, take you to Amazon to purchase those books for my profits. And so yeah. So how dare she? She must be conjuring up something. What could it be? You know what? Psychologically, she's dealing with this and that and here and there and oh my dear, oh everywhere. And so, oh no, oh my, there is so much Wi-Fi in the sky. And so, all these whatevers being like, oh no, she totally being so drama-llama, man. She's such a drama-llama. She's making fun of us. I'm like, we're so much cooler than her. individual wearing whatever color hat. And so, oh my, and then it was read across the internet, so far it had spread. And on FetLife, there's so much strife, because what did she have the nerve to do? Write something creative, apparently a prophecy too. And then in Austin, oh my, so many more, because in DFW, well, what type of number in those scores? And so, oh my, she must have moved back to DFW so that way she could go to so many more events. And then literally you could look online and see so many pages hence. And in comparison to the locations I could have gone, DFW or Dallas Fort Worth, no, 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 oh so long. And so also in San Antonio, also known as Military City, USA. Well, again, similarly there, only two that were really known throughout the day. So where, oh my. San Marcos only had one location on the Nile. And then, oh no, that's more than 3 cities. What vanity and egotism. What such a pity. And so, if that hypothetical aspect of individuals thinking they're so much more important, well, there's also a few other locations throughout the United States of America, possibly, that could have had a zoo, possibly a circus tent. And so, if in the hypothetical that a whole bunch of people had thought so much more highly of themselves, well, I suppose, what is upon your closet shelves? Because guilty conscience, I believe, would be the word. Oh my, oh my, oh my, how absurd. And so then, if there was all of this needless drama stirred, what could we do to spread the word? Let's stir up some drama all around the internet. Oh, in a zoo, I suppose they might be to someone a cute little pet. Someone somewhere, I suppose, possibly. How really truthfully was it difficult for any of you to see? So if in that hypothetical no one could possibly have predicted, well, maybe, just maybe, some got a little too addicted. And how you choose to view that word, addicted. Technically, anybody who would have that name could find that out in a bed. So if the possibility of anyone I once knew in person, face to face in person, who somehow could not see, every now and then with every outfit that I personally created, I suppose some of those egos might have just gotten deflated. Pouty, pouty, mopey soul. But it is that I can say with such a soft sigh, it is what it is on the by and by. So while I did not give permission for anybody to get involved with certain things, what type of information would that internet be capable to find, to bring? It's so scary. Oh, that might be quite a different type of record of a scar, in the possibility that somebody may have thought, uh-oh, those legal copyrights on the internet, you may not have thought, because they're actually there and always have been. Uh-oh, thou shalt not steal. It is an actual sin. So, anybody who didn't realize regarding my modeling, I created the majority of my outfits. I have updated my journal blog, The Ornery PSA, in the year 2019, 2020, 2021, and this is the year 2022. So if other people had whatever references that they had, I most likely have no idea what those references would be, which would completely be in my own safety. Because in order to actually have that viewpoint, intellectual property rights, because the only way that sort of a legality would be is if already having seen. And since I hadn't, well, good day and good night. See, little outfit. And so, because of other people's perceptions, well, then what does that translate to regarding my scuba diving work in that particular reception? And so an ironic twist and turn of events that may or may not have been thought about. Now, you should really think about that. If you can do so without being so mopey and pouty. Is as it is, as to those particular types. How sad, yet absurd, as to how you're spoiled and far from ripe. And so if in that time frame of the year of 2012, when I had created that all on my own, what an irony of irony, as to the term caretaker and bone. And so, if there were people that I once knew in person, face to face in person, who actually thought that that was about them at all, in any capacity or connection of. Nope. Oh no. It was apparently simply just prophecy. Just being creative. Similar to my book series where I just wanted to create a scary book series. That might actually be a tad bit more scary. Now that that's been cleared up as far and wide, I wonder what some may not have thought about in regards of what's at their side. Because there is that reality in regards of I did not invite anybody during the time frame and giving an RSVP to my Medal of Honor Art Project trips. Nobody else had that right, despite what may have been considered hip. And so, oh my, oh my, oh my. I would have actually just used your name back then to call you out, as you had examples throughout that time. It's the at symbol. Pay attention to detail, millennials. Oh my, oh my. What type of egotistical fool? The haughtiness and arrogance and vanity and greed. Sad to know that ever existed indeed. So, those types, I suppose, so ironic to this day. What now regarding patterns of behavior would there be different for some to say? And so for those who may have thought that they knew me personally, well, I have been to a coffee shop or two, as well as a spitting rap battle near the Atlantic Oceanic waters or sea. And so, while some might not have realized that very large truth, well, an irony. Where would you prefer to sit? On a chair or in a booth? So, kind of weird. Kind of weird. So very much so. As fabric moves through time, to and fro. So if there were those who thought of themselves that much higher, didn't realize that I was around so many liars. It's a shame, I suppose. As to those particular aspects, I doubt anybody simply thought, oh dear, what the heck? although maybe somebody who didn't think about my actual knowledge. Maybe somebody who had went to whatever type of college. And so those particular factors to take into consideration, legalities and proof to clarifications and verification. So if as to such egotism, haughtiness, and disgrace, I suppose that would translate to egg upon your type of face. So, it's proven that I wouldn't allow quite a few things. And so it should have been something to attention of mine. In truth, others should have thought to bring. In comparison to whatever they thought would be acceptable. No, it hasn't been at whatever type of table. So while some people just in that way, so grotesque as to that view, I truthfully must say. And so if there were those that didn't think of it as a big deal, oh, but it is. You were taught not to lie, cheat, or steal. And so those particular factors to take into that consideration. I believe this would be a different type of a different clarity to verification. And so it is quite sad, little girl or little lad. I just have actually paid more attention and saw more than apparently you had in your claim to comprehension. And so with that, if there wasn't that needless shit pot stirring, well, it's been you, apparently, whatever, I don't care of your names, that you had been blurring. Lazy, recreational, ignorant types. I had not needed any more annoyance or strife. I already had been dealing with far more than enough back when I had written a poem so tough. So while some people in St. John Vianney High School may have thought, in comparison now that some have learned, what would there be to cause such distraught? And so those types as to those ways. Just boring. And the need to get out and stay out of my way. And so those realities as to what is known to be correct, maybe, just maybe, Is there a way to achieve perfect? Thanks for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. Make sure that you share the link to my official YouTube video in comparison to stealing as a funnel. That would be considered breaking said two commandments, as I've already explained repeatedly, ages and ages hence. I'm not interested in regards of any wishful thoughts. Keep in mind what you have caused without my permission or allowance, no matter how you are caught. So, what I dealt with needlessly, I prefer not to have that type in my life ever again, in any capacity. I've dealt with enough, and I've worked to actually earn for myself. Theft is not the same as actual work. Obviously, there would be the need for help. But I made so many attempts, time and time again. I don't know if I can really think of anyone that I could believe was ever truly my friend. Because if there ever actually could have been or could be such a thing, that would require truth, in each and everything. So there's my website, www.susanmeeling.com. No, I don't give permission for any CD-ROM. There's also the same as my website, www.ladydorybell.com. No, I do not view such as a worthwhile sitcom. So, those types as to those ways doesn't really matter to me as to what is thought or what some might say. There's not really much that I've heard about myself that wasn't something negative. I haven't ever really heard much in truth of anything genuinely positive. So what value to myself and actual worth that I would see regarding my work? Not much thus far, because apparently of so many greedy stomach girths. In comparison to actual appreciation, I haven't ever actually seen that or experienced that in genuine truth. And that's not a conspiracy. Today is the 1st of July, 2022. I believe there is Eminem song lyrics to have both middle fingers up high. You know, to those types. Not of any value and not of any worth. In my opinion, apparently even since my own birth. If you needed a reason to cry, I hope that helped. 1 July 2022.